You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Bar Rescue After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Bar Rescue After Show.
Take them back roads, you might want to bring your other ride.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bar Rescue Season 4, Episode 6. Empty bottles, full cans. And we're listening to Big Smo in honor of tonight's episode.
Great choice. Great. Was that you or
That
Steven?
was. That was.
Yeah, awesome.
Obviously, Big Smo is the one who got us involved in tonight's Bar Rescue because he has such an affinity towards this bar. I wish Marissa Marissa watched the CMAs, which just happened last Wednesday, which he was the headliner for. So congratulations to that. And it's nice to see someone, a musician, celebrity, or anyone else, kind of, really care in that way. And, obviously has the power to kind of call John and say, hey, you know what? Help out. Would you be able to do that? And John listened.
So that's how you think it went down? John was friends with him?
I don't know if they were friends necessarily, but it'd be like, if Maria and John were not friends, but Maria said, hey, you know what?
Reached out. I have a group that needs your help.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I think it's so different from what we've seen, just in general, that I loved it.
Just great producing once again, because it's just something, just different.
Yeah.
All the way to the reveal of the bar. Usually we go to commercial break when it's everyone turn around, and I went to fast forward on the DVR, and like, oh, what am I doing? They kept it going.
Yeah, I got Steven too. He's like, fast forward this.
It was nice. It was just great. I like how we continue to see different things, and I know we'll talk about it as it unfolds. Also seeing Russell swear. I mean, he was so mad.
Well, let's start with one of the, so tonight, in terms of the recon, we get 2 locals that John has the numbers for. And so, so with this bar, it's called MT.
They were regulars, and, you wonder if he didn't have to send in regulars. Like, usually those bars, like, if we walked in there, no. We
would get no service?
We'd stand on like sore thumbs. They don't take kindly a lot of times, and they sniff you out. Yeah. So it was great that they went with regulars. And
they seem to, the staff seem to know John. They seem to know the history.
Everybody does now.
Well, I love when John did eventually walk in. Brandy said, there's Taffer just walking in, so he does that.
She said, John Taffer. And he just walked right by.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, so it's called MT Bottles from Middle Tennessee, which I didn't know about, so I thought that was interesting. And you can bring your own booze, which I've seen in LA before, but not to this extent.
I mean, it's just a recipe for failure, as they were saying.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's this, other than the girls, the pretty girls, this was one of the bars that I'd least want to peruse.
Yeah, I mean,
between the smoke and just the look of the bar, and I don't know. We've seen some bad ones, but to me, just personally, it's not that this was so bad, or they were worse as owners than the other owners we've seen. It just personally, it wasn't a bar that I wanted to go to.
No, not by him. I mean, it seemed the only reason you would go there is because you didn't want to hang out at your house drinking alone. It's like, oh well, let me take my whatever,
my jug.
Let me bring it on over to empty bottles, and get a boob show.
All right, I'm going to say this now, Brandy. I mean, I thought she was a beautiful girl. I thought all the bartenders were, and I find that interesting because of the area. I figured, they wouldn't. They're out in the middle of nowhere. You wouldn't get that caliber, but yeah, I thought they were very attractive.
Yeah, I mean, overall they were.
Yeah. I want to know how Russell got along with her.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, you got to find out.
I'll get the full scoop from Russell.
I think they make a nice couple. Texas boy.
Tennessee girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
For a night.
Russell, if you're listening, there you go. You have our suggestion.
Well, I want to find out.
I bet he has. He keeps in touch with all of them, so I bet he has our number.
Maybe, but he didn't seem, which is why I love him. Like, he's not at all smitten at all. He seemed genuinely aggravated.
Oh, he was, yeah. Absolutely. But we're going to ahead of ourselves.
Okay, go ahead.
So going back to the recon.
Okay, sorry. Recon, backseat. Our other guy, cook / sculptor, welder, tell me he's not a rock star.
Oh, he did, remember that one bar?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, you know, that he's a two-sport athlete. Yeah. He's a double threat.
Well, if what's great, I mean, if you kind of, not that, obviously they're kind of, you wouldn't think that the two are aligned in any way, but no.
But why not?
Yeah. And I loved his look. I mean, he just had such a great energy about him.
And so smart.
Yeah.
So I love how John went off the board. But again, that's John, you know, knowing, okay, like for this one, I don't need a hospitality person. Give me Russell. He's from the South. He'll know how to handle these people. You know, give me the artist, you know, / cook. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the South and certainly not Tennessee, but they kept going back to that ingenuity, and they kind of highlighted at the beginning of I mean, as lame as Tracy really was, I did like some of his kind of inventions. Oh, I absolutely liked him. He just was lazy.
He was
That's all. He was just lazy, but he had you could see he had a high IQ.
Yeah. So all in all, the recon just goes terrible for the bar. 75 ounces poured.
Could that be the biggest cluster F that we've seen for just a bar in a recon? I mean, there had to be like 15 people back there, and when Russell, and I've been in that situation, when you're working so hard and you're working with idiots, and then finally you work so hard that you hurt yourself, and then you just snap. And he tweaked his knee, and
he's talking about the stress test, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I'm sorry, so am I getting ahead?
Well, with the recon.
Oh, we're still at recon, yeah, okay. Go ahead.
I mean, that was just, they basically got the whole place drunk for $5.
Right, you're right. I mean, and that's what I'm saying, it was a ridiculous business model.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, and at least you would think if anything, they would be pushing out food to make up for it.
No, but he wasn't very proactive. Yeah, she was willing to do the work. We've seen this before. We've seen females, especially, willing to do the work, but needed someone else to
guide.
Yeah, and he was just he's not a very proactive person. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world who do sit back and let it be taken away from them.
And,
you know what I mean, Phil? They don't attack. They just sit and just. It just happens and it happens and it happens and then, nah.
Here's the ironic part. Yes, he was lazy, but he had, he could have told other people what to do and managed it in that way. Where he sort of, what, we need a bank at the start of the night. Can you make sure, and you would think that he would trust his wife to do it.
He just wasn't a very high energy, proactive person.
No. But John didn't think Gina was either at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, she was playing the darts, dancing around.
Definitely
rings.
that. But, I've seen the Ginas of the world, they just give up. It's not their fault. They give up because look at the partner.
Yeah.
They get tired of being the only one caring. And what they'll do is they'll work hard and to offset it, they'll party hard. So, she's slinging out drinks quickly, wiping down the bar, doing all that stuff. I mean, she's not going to go in the basement and fix the plumbing problem. But she'll do all the grunt work. But then it's let's smoke butts and play darts and drink because why should I do any more?
Yeah.
When
speaking of the bass,
partner.
I love Trace's excuse of that's how it came. That's how I got it.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the water was black?
I mean, you would think it's the same way if you buy a fixer-upper house. That's your job to fix it up. Just because you bought it that way doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You should and want to improve it.
And the other thing is, space is rare.
Yeah.
Real estate is rare. Land is rare. And to know you had all of that space to work with down there, that basement was huge. And then eventually knowing when I saw the backyard for the live band, I mean, that could hold a ton of people. You know, if you had somebody that was more proactive and more creative, just think of the acts that you could get in there. I mean, that place holds a lot of people. You could probably set up an outdoor bar, you know, like a little beer tent.
They could bottle their own natural spring water from that natural spring.
Oh, my God, please. That was so gross.
I think it was just grosser that it didn't pour out black. Like, the water poured out, but then left black sludge in the pitcher. That was the grossest thing.
Yeah, John always gets mad when it's like, okay, you're lame, you're losing your business, you're hurting yourself, but now you're going to kill people.
Well, one of the biggest things in the food industry is stachybotrys, which is a black mold, and it basically, it's almost as bad as asbestos. It's worse than asbestos.
It is. Listen, in real estate, you get that in a house, and
it's done.
It's done. You know, it spreads fast. It's lethal.
Causes Alzheimer's.
I've cut it out of, you know, again, when we were younger, and my dad did construction, and we always did the shit work. My dad just took the worst jobs. But when we were kids, I can't tell you how many times we would find black mold, and to save the house for the, you know, the person that owned it, we would cut it out. You know, we'd cut it out, and, you know, but it's awful when you have it, you know. Scary.
But it's better to leave it alone.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, I get frustrated.
But I liked, you know, next day Tracy's kind of, yeah, obviously, you know, with John there, she is rejuvenated. She was.
Well, she, again, a hard worker, and she felt like, oh my God, my knight in my shining armor is here.
Yeah.
You know, and as we learn a little bit more about her, I think she felt like her lottery ticket.
I think Tracy came in to work that day, restocked with cigars, knowing it was going to be a long day. That's what I honestly think.
Probably.
Which, by the way, speaking of that, you know, he's got the matches, you know, and you know, when John was like, you know, what's the biggest problem with this? I didn't get it either.
I didn't either.
And when he explained it, I was like, okay, I get it. And you know, everyone gave that answer of like, okay, we'll get rid of it. And you know, learning that lesson, I thought, wow, absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I didn't know, but I'll do what John says because it fully makes sense.
It's the famous response of most people like that, which is, oh, tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Tomorrow, which means, you know, whenever, which means never.
But like, what was the thing? I mean, because well, I guess, I don't know where they were kind of placed about, but because obviously when John got them, it was in that little thing. So I don't know if he gathered all of them and put them in there for a later use or what the thinking was. Because remember that one episode where, you know, John told all the entirety of the food to be dumped because it was gross, and the guy was like, no, save it.
Yeah, he told him, yeah.
So I don't know if it was one of those situations.
No, I think you know, there's services that come take the bottles away and pay you. We used to we didn't mention at top, but poor Dorinda couldn't be here today. We had to tape a little earlier. We had a scheduling conflict, and she'll be back next week. But with Dorinda would tell you that, you know, most of the time you have to empty your empties. You put them back into the cases that they came in, and then there's services that come out and take them back away. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
All right, so then moving on to, you know, kind of the education part of it. Russell, you know, we finally get to meet Russell, and he's excited. And little does he know, they know nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely, they don't know what pores are.
Listen, I'm just impressed. I'm gonna say again, I am impressed that some country bar in the middle of nowhere has, you know, attractive girls.
Yeah, but
at that kind of bar, like that doesn't, you know, probably doesn't gross dime one.
But
so I'll give them that. So I would put up with. I'm just saying, Phil.
But that's not a business model.
It's just. I would, of course, teach them, but again, they didn't have a liquor license, so what do you expect? All they're doing is cracking beers and hopefully getting guys to come in and flirt with them.
Yeah.
So I see why you'd have them, and what's surprising is there was so many. It seemed like the way they shot it, it seemed like a smaller bar, but when we did the recon, it's a bigger bar, and you know, with all those girls there, it had to have been.
Yeah. And I will give them a lot of credit. I mean, they focused on Brandy a lot. but all of them seem genuine. Jen was another girl, I think. They wanted to learn. You know, and as much as they
thought they were great. No, they were great sports, Phil, considering. I mean, a lot of times we see the pretty bartender, and they have terrible attitudes. They just think they're rock stars, and they don't want to be told what to do because they're brats, because they've been good-looking their whole lives and catered to. And this girl, they hung in.
Yeah.
They took they got their flags put on their bodies, and they rolled with it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I've never seen him so mad. He was beet-faced red, and it went on. It was like, you could see in the later scenes, time had passed, he was still mad.
Yeah.
But we said, you know, it's my career. So, you know, he's twisting his knee, and, you know, if he can't 10 bar, he's done.
And it was, you know, and also it's over a stupid matter. Yeah. You know what I mean? When it's something uncontrollable, you know, okay, it's an accident. It's very, very unfortunate, but it is an accident. This could have been prevented.
And is there anything, have there been fewer shots more entertaining than the owner trying to pull up the mop, then looking around at everybody and just kind of quietly putting the mop back away?
Who was he convincing? Of what was he convincing?
I think he was just hoping there were no cameras on him anymore.
Okay, but if anything, this is what baffles me. If anything, I would have just gotten it, pretended to mop the area that needed to be mopped, and then walked away and be like, well, I mopped it.
Well, anyone who has the know-how to put together a pipe system for the bottles, and I'm sure he does some welding. I mean, I'm just surprised. But I've seen guys like that, too, like Maria's dad, blue-collar, can do everything, plumbing, electric, but literally get him to spray Windex on a glass counter and forget it. You know, so I've seen it before, I get it, but it's like, really?
But he's willing to admit it, right? Or
no, he was like, that's why I bought a bar, so other people could bartend. You know, but
I'm saying Costas would be Maria's dad.
Oh, Costas, he just jokes about it. He doesn't care, and he's so amazing at everything he does that he gets a free pass on all that stuff.
And that's what, you know, if anything.
This guy's not amazing. I mean,
no, and that's why I dictate and say, hey, you know what, go get the mops in there, go do it, you know,
I always hate, you know, I'm from Boston, and, you know, growing up New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, always had the guys with the engine on their front lawn. And Steven, you're from down south. You probably saw a lot of that too.
Which?
Well, just like the engine on the front lawn, and the couple of cars in the back that they're constantly working on, but the projects never get completed. They never get finished.
Yeah, you see tobacco shacks. You see lots of that on mostly like the tobacco farms and things like that. But I mean, it's not like it's certainly not backwater like you'd see more in like Alabama and things like that.
Well, I'm just going by, like I said, New Hampshire and those places, and it was always those guys. And they I'm working on my car, I'm working on this engine, and it would never get done. And they tinker a little, and super talented, far more knowledge than say I would have or you would have, Phil, for you know, engines and things like that. But it just never gets done, just tinkering over a couple of beers, and that's just all it is. And I don't know, we all have ways we pass our time, but I just always find that so frustrating, and that's what this guy reminded me of. He's that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's just something to do. It's something to aim for. And in some ways, if you feel like you've completed it, you know, what do you move on to? I mean, it's not like, you can't move on from engine to engine to engine. It just becomes impractical in that sense. You know, that seems more impractical in that sense rather than just having one engine working on it for 40 years. And, you know, so many times they bring in the kids into it. So it's like, oh, me and my summer project for me and my kid.
Okay, that's fine. You're being a good parent. You're teaching, but just, I don't know. Anyway.
I don't disagree. I'm just stating the mentality.
I see, God, when you own a bar, though, it's like I wanted to jump behind the bar. I wanted to get in there and clean and fix, you know, because it is a really big space. And I find it so exciting to be able to have that back area for a stage.
Yeah. You
know, and I think it's one of those examples, too, where we'll get in recon, where John, if he had more time, what he would have done, because there was just so much space there.
And I never got the sense from Tracy of why he really wanted this bar. You know, it's not like, because most owners, they would be drinking. He didn't really drink.
So we know of. I don't know. You're right. You're right.
He just kind of sat there. Like, what did you go into it with? Why? It wasn't, you know, I don't think it was really Gina's dream. He just hired her. and then they got married.
But she was a regular too, right? That's how they fell in love. It said at the opening, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I don't,
I don't know.
That whole history to me isn't quite clear, and I'd love to kind of really understand from him, like, what was your goal of this? I don't know. I mean, if it was to just build cool stuff, you could have worked for a bar owner. I don't know.
But he didn't like to build cool stuff. He built cool stuff maybe once every 5 or 10 years, and the rest of it is just sit there and smoke your cigar.
I mean, I have a little insight on this, maybe a little bit.
Go ahead.
I worked at a barbecue restaurant in North Carolina, and the owner brought it up from the ground, made the restaurant and everything. And once they got to that point where they're making 40, 50 a month, like a good money and everything like that, then he kind of took a back seat to it because, I mean, he pays people to do it. He wanted to be the guy who did it. He's put in all his work, and then he's kind of letting it just go on autopilot. So this guy just seems like because this bar was so successful, he thought that he could just go on autopilot even as it gets worse and worse. I think he just didn't realize that he was the one who needed to be proactive and get it out of the dirt.
Well,
I mean, we see that all the time on this.
We do. It's true.
Success breeds complacency. Sometimes.
It certainly does.
Yeah, you have to keep fighting for it every day. You got to always be trying to make it better every day. You just got to. It's not fun, but in the long run, it's fun.
Speaking of making things better, we food-wise, they wanted to do a bunch of stuff, but they didn't even know how to. I like the science behind frying. When I thought that was a great explanation. And
that it's steam, not the oil that cooks the meat.
Yeah.
Or the product.
And they're just terrible at this too.
Yeah, and it almost did feel like a convenience store. I mean, John said the look of it looked like a convenience store, but even
the outside was just.
But even the kitchen was, with that cheese coming off the nacho machine, and I've seen that on bars too, where the quote kitchen is actually attached to the bar, and I've seen it done well, but I've also seen it where it's just for drunks to have fuel to keep their liquor going. It's just, or as Joe would say, a friend of ours, swill. It's not food, it's just swill.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but again, another way to make money, I suppose.
I mean, I think everyone who kind of goes into a bar, you want something to eat, and you don't have to have too many options, but something helps. Yeah. Anything.
Well, we've learned from other episodes that it increases, revenue.
Stay by 50.
That's right. They'll stay longer and drink more.
Yeah. But they won't stay if it takes an hour to get out one drink, which during the stress test.
Okay, so let's talk about what a cluster F. I don't know if I recall a bigger cluster F behind the bar as one we saw tonight.
Yeah, there was so many. In general, there was way too many people behind the bar, and and you can have that many people, but they just didn't know what the hell they were doing.
They didn't know what they were doing, Phil, and also the bar was set up to be a beer bar and not a liquor bar. So, and then add to that, because there wasn't enough, I don't know, there didn't seem like there was enough knowledge of how to set up the kitchen behind the bar in the right way. So they were destined to fail. I don't care how good they were as bartenders. Too many people back there, small area, and an area not designed for liquor and not really properly designed for the food. Yeah. So you knew it was going to get bad, but Russell looked mad. Normally it's like he hit by his own mission. It's the Socratic method where they're just constantly pointing out mistakes, knowing that they're breaking them down in order to build them back up for the reopen and the relaunch. But in this case, he looked mad. He looked real mad. We should also talk about John lashing out at, the owner.
Tracy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he held nothing back.
Can I say that my girlfriend, she's actually laughed in my face when I say, "Can you get me a drink of water?" And I've only done it as a
joke.
That's a joke. She laughs in my face. Now you flip that, and I'm doing everything around the house that needs to be done. And I just love these guys. You know, he's got a younger girl, and she's doing everything for him, and he doesn't have to do anything. I'm like, man, it must be nice. You know?
And I thought they would touch upon this more, you know, but what was nice is they didn't make it like the marriage counselor episode, because we've seen that from John before, which I thought it could have been, had you wanted it that way.
Well, I think knowing John, he knows more than we do. He's there with them, and it probably wasn't as necessary. What was necessary was to get this guy to do something and to understand he's hurting his wife and his relationship, not just his business.
Yeah. And those were really strong words. Like, you're not even a man, you know?
And, you know, he meant it because he's got such a great relationship with his wife. He talks about what a partnership they are. And, you know, I think he's admitted that his first wife, it wasn't that way because this business, you know, he didn't know how to control it at the time, and it didn't work. But he has a partner now, and they work together, and they support each other. And, you know, I believe that. I believe he would never, you know. But, yeah, I have to say. But, again, on a side note, yeah, I envy Tracy. It's nice to have one of those wives that's just doing everything for you, where you just sit on your fat ass.
Yeah, but in this case, it was ultimately way too stressful. You're in debt, $250,000.
I don't know.
Eventually, the party ends.
Maybe it does, or she just keeps working at the factory, and she gets him benefits, and then the bar goes, and she continues to work at the factory, get the benefits, support them, they downsize. I mean, I've seen it. I don't know.
Sounds like a beautiful life to me.
Well, it's awesome when you're the guy or the girl, whoever's the one that's on the receiving end of the free ride.
Oh, my goodness.
Which we don't know the whole story, but it looked pretty much like she was the woman that woman that was just doing everything. And then when we hear about her upbringing, that she grew up poor, makes sense. She probably had to always be that one, you know, that was working and grinding and working and grinding. And because she grew up poor, you know, he probably looked like a hero because he owned a bar.
And now, you know, so moving on to kind of the renovation, so it's called Bottles and Caps. Obviously for
bottles
and cans. That's what it was. I was like,
I thought genius name.
Yeah,
really great name.
I thought so too, in honor of Brandy.
And right, but I have to say, you're driving on that highway. Now they've got a liquor license, and news that Bottles and Cans has that little undertone. I'm pulling over. Yeah. I see that. I'm totally pulling over. Like, why not? Especially if you found it's not a strip club, so you know you're safe. I'm totally going in that bar.
Yeah. And speaking of that, so then you have the entrance, which
loved the entrance.
That was amazing.
And just typical of just John, like that. It's not just imagination, but he really, in these few days, he gets in these people's minds and comes up what would motivate them. I love that. I thought that was fantastic. It was redneck engineering, as they said. I loved it, and it gave such a nice, colorful presentation to the bar.
Yeah, and, you know, it's unfortunate that Gina, I think Gina was...
Well, let's get there. So let's get to Gina, but let's talk about, with the renovation, you know, I loved the thing put on the outside. I liked the bigger sign. He probably had the freedom to make a bigger sign. I love the name. And inside we go, and we went from this kind of like Knights of Columbus, just kind of, I don't know, gross.
It was just a hangout.
It was just a hangout, yeah. And to a bar, you know, it was. I liked what they did with the dartboards. I liked. We had a couple of flat panels in there. The stainless steel behind the bar.
Yeah, the kitchen was separated.
Yeah, which is great for you're gonna do business. And like I said, I feel like it was such a big undertaking that. I wish they had more time because I think they could have even done more outside. Because I think, you know, and again, I don't know the area, but I would be licking my chops if I was a bar owner and I had that back area. That held a lot of people, Phil. Yeah. So if you even took the time to invest and import some acts that have followings, you could crush.
And it didn't seem like you had to worry about too many, you know what I mean? It's not like the neighbors are there, so volume control isn't an issue.
Right.
You know, you could have free reign over that.
It was great. The toilet bowl, I like that was fun. You know, good way to get rid of the water.
Yeah, you know, I loved all these various designs. you know, because of what it spoke to the heritage.
Yeah. Again, it's John, you know, and so that being said, I give credit to the Bar Rescue producers again because they allowed Gina to speak her piece and be disheartened. A lot of times shows attempt to just cut around that and make it this, you know, cooked happy ending. But I like the fact that they were honest and showed that she didn't, she wasn't happy about it.
I mean, they've had the wherewithal to be honest about it before if owners didn't like it, right? I mean,
Pirates Bar.
There you go.
30 minutes in.
I was going to keep it to the Vegas bar where the guy just never showed up.
Right.
But at least in this way, it wasn't just she didn't like the bar. It was much deeper than that. And through it, she overcame a fear or, you know, she got to a new place in her life because of it. Where it's like, you know what? I imagine myself kind of rising up in this world from where I had grown up, but you know what? It doesn't have to be like that. Like this
yeah,
is
but
not
I don't know if she really arced, Phil. I mean,
Really?
I don't know if she got there. No, I mean, I think that, you know, because Bar Rescue is so popular, I think people really fantasize in their brains, you know, and we all do this. We build things up in our brains of what things are going to be, and then it's almost impossible to reach those expectations. So she wanted something like a Chili's or some, you know, one of those higher end. That's what she probably envisioned, but people weren't going to stop in a place like that. You know, he did the right thing. What he did. First of all, I thought it looked great anyway, but
well, what it certainly did was it invigorated Tracy. You know, he kept going back to the fact, like, isn't this something that you'd create? Isn't this something that you'd create? And he's like, yeah, you know, but she never lets me.
Right. And so you had a liquor license now. You have a bigger, a cleaner place to work. You know, we've got a bar that works. I mean, he really set them up to success. I just think that she built in her brain in the months ahead when she knew that they were casting the show, she built it up in her brain to think, you know, something that, I mean, again, probably so big in her head that there's no way John can match that anyway. But we all do that. You know, sometimes we run away, we fantasize. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, whether it's the cover of Maria's book or whatever, and I get so excited in my brain, and then I get it, and I'm like, no, I'm always a little underwhelmed because I build it up way too much in my head.
And those are the, you know, in cases like this, people have an unrealistic expectation of what it should be. I mean, I don't know what she was thinking in her head, obviously, but I mean, you know, it wouldn't be far-fetched to say like she wanted like an LA nightclub full of like,
yeah,
like,
but
not the place.
But that's what she was fanning. She's like, it's Bar Rescue. They're going to come in, and we're going to, you know, it's going to be $250,000, you know, $500,000 worth of stuff, and I'm sure that's what she was envisioning. And she did get that, but it had to be within.
It had to attract real customers, right?
Yeah,
like
it can't be a fantasy. It couldn't be a fantasy. And what I loved was the way the staff reacted. And that seemed genuine to me.
Yeah.
Like, we love it. You know, and sometimes, hey, again, I'm the old guy here at the AFTERBUZZ Network, and there are times where I don't get things. And then I have all you guys under 25 saying to me, no, this is amazing. We love it. And you're like, oh. Yeah. And then hopefully you're the type of leader who says, you know what? Okay, I stand corrected. You know, I don't see it, but clearly I'm in the minority. Let's go with what the majority wants. So, you know, hopefully, you know, she ended up rolling with it.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of the staff, what's great is it's great when the staff does feel a part of it and they love it. Because, you know, when people love working there and can have a fun time.
You want to make people feel invested. You want to make them feel like they're part of the team. You know, then they go that extra mile. So it's not just, hey, I'm just doing just enough to get my money, get the F out of here. And when you make people, when people feel good about their environment, when they like where they work, when they're excited, they're going to work harder. And so that's why I see a lot of bosses who are negative and don't empower people. And I believe it works in the short run. I think it worked before like the 80s. It worked. The old generation would take that. The people today, young people today, can't be motivated that way. And so it was, John called her out on that. Like, okay, fine, but look at your staff and look how enthusiastic they are. Yeah. You know, like what you're doing you're breaking that. So,
and I mean, you know, going back to the stage, that was it's just that venue was great.
It's amazing.
I mean, Big
venue.
Smo was excited.
He was good. Yeah, by the way, thank you. So Big Smo comes in, and I have to just a side note. A lot of country stars. You know, my experience in this business, dealing with movie stars, TV stars, rock stars, rap stars, country stars, reality stars. I mean, I've dealt with all of them. And the one thing about country stars, literally, Phil, if I just had a stereotype, always the nicest, most humble people in our business. Just down to earth, nice, just, I mean, sometimes if you watch like Celeb Apprentice, you'll see some of the guys who were from the country world. And
John Rich.
Yeah, but we knew like Trace Atkins, we worked with him on a show called Clash of the Choirs. And it's actually what put Trace out there, you know, and got him to the next level. But, or maybe, who's the guy that does the voice, too?
Blake Shelton.
Blake Shelton. It was Blake we worked with. I'm sorry. Trace we got to know because of just doing interviews with him. But both the same thing. Nice, humble, sweet guys. You know, no, so that when I saw Big Smo, I'm like, that's it. That's always those guys. They're just, but his reaction seemed genuine. He genuinely loved the changes. And that made me go, okay, we're not being put on here. Yeah. I thought he was being genuine.
I thought so too.
So, and I thought the girls were being genuine as well. I don't think they were being fed by a producer.
No, I thought, you know, and I think Tracy was actually being genuine too. He's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I envisioned this.
Yeah. I would have if she'd let me.
Yeah. So, and I loved the frozen whiskey.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that though.
Well, but you can pre-make it.
You can, but my fear is there's a lot of parts on that, and I feel like that's something, if that breaks, Phil, that's it. Like, who's servicing that? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a neat contraption, but I think there's a lot of, I mean, unless it's more intricate than we saw, it just, you know, it looked.
I think it's less intricate, because here's the thing, it's just, there's the sculpture part of it, and then it's really just
tubes.
Yeah, it's just tubes.
But it blends in the garbage disposal. Like, that's used as, I think, as the blender, right?
No, I don't think. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
So it's basically just a bucket with a garbage disposal on it that's used as a blender. It's not, if it breaks, they just use a blender, honestly. And the thing about slushy drinks, as I've learned from working in restaurants and things like that, not a lot of people go for them. I mean, I know it's a really cool thing for that bar, and that's really cool, but I mean,
they do well, you know, Steven, they do well in beach areas. Mm-hmm. They do, you know, warm areas.
Right, yeah.
They do great. But, you know, like a Chili's or restaurants like that, no. But if you go to a down on a beach or in a beach community or something to that effect, or a summer bar, yeah, you can really do well with those.
I just think
drinks.
Usually people get the frozen drinks they want, like a tequila. I mean, it just seems interesting to me seeing a whiskey frozen drink.
Yeah, I think it's more of a novelty. It doesn't seem like something for that crowd.
Yeah. I mean, the concept to me, it's something that would inspire Tracy, and he'd kind of be the one manning it, because it just gives him something to do. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Tracy,
no, but I liked him cooking. I think that's a great place for him to be.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good at that too.
Because you know what? I always find that those guys that can do that, the intricate engineering he did with his little pipe contraption, usually those guys are pretty good cooks.
Okay.
Because you're being creative.
Yeah.
So those guys usually, they don't mind, they're patient, they don't mind
creative
the small details.
Scientific.
Yes.
Because, you know, you have to, thin slices or whatever, big slices, and then temperature and things like that. So there's a lot of creativity / science to it. So I like that.
I still want to know if Russell and Brandy got together.
I'll text him right now.
Text him right now. I know that's not his type of girl, but I want to know.
He shouldn't have wore that shirt.
What's that? He shouldn't have worn that shirt?
That shirt. We were watching this. We were watching it, and we were just like, man, Russell, what are you thinking with that shirt? He had like this V-neck that went down to like his belly button kind of. No, it wasn't
on this
that
show?
big. It wasn't that big, yeah, but it just.
On this episode, I thought he had a button up.
No, it was like a huge V-neck. It looked terrible.
Well, probably because he's in the sweltering heat down, you know what I mean, in the humidity of Tennessee.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Off topic, yeah.
I don't know. I want to know more about Brandy, I'm still perplexed by them. I'm still perplexed. Yeah.
So we'll see.
I need some intel. She's not up there. She's definitely not up there with One-Eyed Pete and some of the other great characters, but...
Did you guys mention the matchbooks yet?
Yes, we did.
We did,
Steven.
right in the barrel.
I didn't hear that. My bad.
Thank you for engineering our show.
And by the way, I didn't know, but you know what? I didn't even know that. It was a great point. I didn't even know that's why you don't have. And by the way, that's why I thought we weren't seeing matches anymore because of the curb on smoking. But
that's what I figured it was.
But now you learn. It's like, oh, where were you? It really is just bad PR. I have to say too, I do not miss. Are you guys old enough to even remember bars with smoke? Steven, you probably are because down south you probably had a lot of smoky bars, right?
Oh yeah.
And do you ever remember, Steven, taking a shower after and smelling the smoke in your hair?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting, and the hangover rate is so much effing higher when in a smoky bar when you're drinking, and it's such a pet peeve of mine that when I see a bar like tonight, as much as when he was done, I definitely wanted to go and I wanted to be at the outdoor part watching the show. But when I just see all those ashtrays and all those smokers, I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell no. I can't even believe
maybe there's rooftop viewing.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that would have been really cool if you built it up.
But
in that way.
I'm still surprised in this country. I get Vegas because it's been proven that drinkers and smokers spend way more money on gambling. So I understand in Vegas, like you're always going to have that, but it's just still seeing it at restaurants and bars now. It blows me away.
Rust.
What's that?
Lame man. So he just wrote ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha! Why? What did you ask Russell?
I said, "Is there, did anything happen with you and Brandy? Pete, we're saying you guys can make a cute couple. Thoughts?" He's like,
ha ha ha! No, you got to get him on the phone, Phil. Tell him we need more information.
Here, Steven, here, can you call him? I'm gonna give you the phone, so I don't say his name.
Yeah, go ahead. Give him the phone. Give him the phone. Oh, hey guys, you know what? John Taffer's book still in the top 10. Still on Amazon. Make your orders now. Don't be discouraged if you don't receive it. This is what happens when you have a popular book. It is sold out, but you will receive your copies. For some of your people that are just tuning in, it's not only a great book for bar owners, it's a great book for someone who owns a restaurant, and it's also just a great book for people who own businesses in general. And I just think it could very well be just a great book if you're interested in being successful. So a lot of the principles John espouses translate over to so many other aspects of your life. One of the things Phil does here is he has the whole staff watches Bar Rescue every week. And mind you, we produce almost 50 shows a week. That's
66.
66 TV shows a week we cover, and then in our total network, over 250 shows. And yet Phil makes sure everyone watches Bar Rescue. And, that's because of the fact
Russell didn't pick up if you guys were listening.
Yeah, Russell didn't pick up.
Should I try him again?
No, it's all right.
But we all watch the show because we've just learned so much about business and about life and about success. And of course, we're super entertained. But the book, it's better because it's going to take things a little further and it's going to go a little deeper. And I think it's going to just be a great almanac for people. So if you're someone that wants to improve your life, wants to be successful, is in the bar business or isn't, pick up this book. And also, it's Christmas time, great gift for a friend. If you or someone that wants to do something like this, wants to open their own bar. I mean, I know so many people who want to do that or start their own business in general. It's just just a shout out to it.
A suggestion for the follow up.
What's that?
Just quick tips. In the sense, like tonight's thing, right? With the
just another book, you mean?
Just another book of quick tips, like, hey, don't have matches because it's a dumb idea.
I mean,
X, Y. Because
Phil, I think here's the enemy John has right now.
Time,
exactly. Time. He's got, I believe, 2, maybe 3 shows in production, and this book, and he's human. And remember, he's the most successful at what he does, as a consultant. So, and I know him, he has so much integrity. He's not going to be like other people and say, here's 50 grand, write some book, shit it out, and whatever. So, but that being said, I believe and I predict there are several books in John. Like the way Trump has several of his books in his brand. I believe John has several of his books, and we're excited for them. But I think with this one, you want to pin it to something. You know, like Maria has her Every Girl Guide to Life, and now she's, you know, spinning off from there. I think this book is the great one for John to get it going, and then, you know, we'll see more.
I have, you know, we'll wrap up with kind of updates on the bar, but I have Russell's official response via text.
Okay.
I prefer girls who are a little more ladylike, if you know what I mean. ...
You know what? He's such a gentleman. He's your typical, like, Texas gentleman. He's got so, you know, class, and that's interesting. He's not a degenerate like me.
No. And then he said...
I'm not degenerate. I'm just open-minded. I like my misfits.
There you go. And then he said his plane's taking off, so holler at him later.
All right, great. All right, we got to get him on the phone because I want to find out. I want to find out. He's really mad.
Well, I want to. I read, you know, that there were some issues with the liquor license, but you actually got to read what it was with this bar.
Well, in October they lost it.
October 17th,
and it was an incident, and it was tough for me to make out what it was. You know, who knows? I don't know. Something went wrong. Gina. Her response to the Facebook fans was, guys, they'll have to take it from my cold, dead hands because you guys know me. And she had that much passion to fight for it, which I love seeing, and that really inspired me. I looked up bottles and cans. You have Bing on your laptop, and yeah, I know Bing's no longer our sponsor here, so but I didn't get to Google and to see what the update was now.
Some people are saying that it's when they go that it's a little bit overcrowded, which, you know,
that's great.
I would look at it as
hey,
if you're at the bar,
people are paying, I'm happy. That means the bar is successful, and that's a lot of space to be overcrowded. So you know what? Awesome.
If that's the case, to hear.
Awesome. And I really hope they get the liquor license back. We don't know the reasons why. It just said plaintiff, the town wanted it back for the city or whatever it was taking it away. And who knows? Who knows? I mean, anything can violate a liquor license. They could be serving alcohol past a certain hour, Phil. The girls could have flashed themselves. I mean, we don't know why. But again, pretty awesome of John to go get them that license and, you know, get them on their way.
Yeah. So all in all, I like this episode.
Yeah, oh hell, I loved it. Are you kidding me? I thought it was funny. I thought it was poignant. Yeah, no, good stuff as always. Just I'm starting to Jones for some freaks. I need some pirates.
Okay.
I need the cockroach guy. Yeah, I need some more.
Could we ever have a bar rescue all-star where it's like...
I've said it forever, Phil.
We should, like, revisit some of the really failed bars and be like, okay, round 2. You didn't listen to me the first time. You ready to listen now?
There is going to be some kind of follow-up show. That's what I had heard from producers. So I look forward to that. There's going to be something where we're going to revisit these bars. And I don't know if they give John a second crack or if it's just an update show. But, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting, but I love the idea of just bringing the greatest characters back in some capacity because, man, you know, and I've also heard that the casting tapes, I mean the tapes that people send in, are also very entertaining. Yeah, not just the people they use, but the other people that want to be on the show. I hear it's extremely entertaining.
I wish they would put those out.
Yeah, no, I know. Well,
I don't think they want to embarrass people. I can see the legalities of that.
Hey, you know, and it's tough for the producers because, you know, they want to make a show where they're fixing these bars, but then, you know, they have a responsibility to entertain us. And I say that every week. If they're not getting the ratings, there's going to be no show. And I've seen, you know, people, you know, whatever that statement is, they cut their nose off to spite their face, but they're so hyper, you know, some of the fans are so hypercritical, and it's like, well, if we address a lot of the critiquing, there wouldn't be a show.
Even failed bars, though, even the ones that are absolutely ridiculous, can still teach a lesson. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about the Pirates episode, it's the ultimate
so entertaining.
barometer for, like, okay, don't ever be this.
Right.
Do not, if you get to a point where, like, okay, do you want to make money or you want to be a pirate? And you say to yourself, I want to be a pirate, then your life is, this is where you're going to head. So it's still applicable.
Of course it is. Phil, I just don't get. And you know, and we all know the culture we live in right now with the trolls and the negativity and stuff. I don't get what more you want from a guy and a crew to go in there in 4 days. What more do you expect or want? You know, then don't call him and don't invite him in. If you don't want all that free help, then good for you. But me, I'm taking it. You want to come to AfterBuzz and give us a makeover? I'm taking it.
What happened to our bar idea?
What's what? Turning the after bar?
Yeah. Well, the bar, the Keven and Maria bar.
Oh, me and Maria gonna open a bar?
No, the mini bar.
Oh, at our house. No, we are. We're doing one for the. Yeah, we want to have one. There's a bar in our house that it's literally from the late 30s. And the room was just, I don't know, we never really did much with it. Now we're going to, step it up and make it an official bar room.
If it's not going to be for your reality show, we should definitely have, like, photo collage that we do as a special segment of, you know, where it was to what it is.
Yeah, because Maria does want to call John, and she wants to get him to consult. Yeah. Oh, my God, I can just imagine us fighting, him hammering me. Now that's the other thing too. It's getting John's become such an icon. He's so popular that people are, I think, almost enjoying the privilege of being yelled at by him.
Yeah,
getting Tafford.
Yeah,
you know, it's almost a rite of passage. Anyway, all right, Phil, where do we find you?
Follow us here at AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. As we mentioned earlier, we do about 66 shows currently a week. You know, we're a few more shows are unveiling next week, and then December, and then January. You know what I mean? So we're always constantly adding more shows. 250 in our full roster. We celebrated our 5,000th episode 3 weeks ago. Now we're probably
And that puts us in, and Guinness Book contacted us, and we are getting confirmation that we're more than likely going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for that. So,
that's right.
Anyway, I don't know why we're announcing it now, but
just like John. Well, you know, I want to applaud us like John.
Anyway, I'm at Undergaro, and you know, Phil, I just started the Instagram because I go to so many cool Hollywood events to take really cool behind-the-scenes pictures. So, again, you have to teach me how to use this stuff, but. Right. I'm Undergaro, I think, at
check him out. You might get a Tapper photo in there.
Absolutely. Steven, where do we find you?
Well, I don't know where you can find Steven.
Mariski.
But you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
Serafini TV, cute Marissa. Okay, and then Dorinda.
Dorinda at Lula Cherry Films, and our Wookiee Mackenzie Fane is on, I'm going to say vacation in Florida.
Yeah, but she'll dispute that. She
will dispute that.
She'll dispute that. She's helping her.
Luckily, she
grandmother.
always listens to these shows, so she's going to know exactly what I'm talking about and call me right out.
Every one of them. All right, well, see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.